Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Habib.
All right. As participant here and speakers almost came, but so far I could notice MD Rezal Kurim Jahangir, Sumaya Akhtar, and Momotaz Begum. Actually, they noticed already they have some problem, and one is out of country for treatment, so they are unable to attend today. We can start, madam. It's better, and
okay.
I should actually start this, then I can invite you for that, right, madam?
Okay, no problem. And Samuel is here.
Samuel.
Because he is the discussant.
Yeah, Samuel will join. Samuel called me. Still, there is no electricity, but he is trying to join. He's prepared, and I assured him that he will. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, myself, Habibur Rahman, inviting all and welcoming you all on the 4th International Conference titled WSWD 2021. on strengthening social solidarity, community resilience, and global connectedness. You know, it started on 3rd of April and will be on after 6th of April. We are just posting technical session 6, day 2 on depression, counseling, and stress recovery mechanism. With us, we are very honored to have Honorable Professor Dr. Jayada Sharmin joining us, and will chair the session. Mr. Muhammad Samuel Islam will join soon as this honorable discussion of the session. Myself, Habibur Rahman, will be with you as session moderator, and of course, just helping hand. Of course, I should say as organizer, part of organizers. So I'm just welcoming you and welcoming all the speakers now. So I would like to refer to the session to Honorable Session Chair, Professor Dr. Jayada Sharmin. Madam, this is your floor. You can just host this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Habib. Really, I am honored that you are inviting me for this, for conducting this session. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this session on depression, counseling, and stress recovery mechanism. I would like to request our first presenter, Dr. Payal Biswas Su. She's from Bangalore, India, and she will discuss on parental depression. So, Dr. Payal, are you hearing me?
Yes, absolutely, ma'am.
Okay. You can start now.
Yeah, thank you so much. A very good evening and to each and everyone. I just, want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a practicing lactation consultant and childbirth educator from practicing in Bangalore from past 15 years. So being in this profession, I'm really fortunate enough to see the pregnant women and also, visit them after delivery. So today my topic is like perinatal depression beyond blues, because this is something, which we find at the, talk of the moment. Ma'am, can I share my screen? If you can make me host, I can share my screen.
Okay, okay.
So,
Madam, you can ask to the Mr. Habib.
Yes. Habib is the operating the session. Why, Habib, are you here?
Dr. Payal Biswas, it's okay. You can turn your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can see.
Yes.
Okay. So pregnancy time, actually it is meant to be happy, period, because the couple is inviting, just a second. Can you see my screen? Actually, I think it.
Not really.
Just give me a second because I think it it got stopped for some reason. Sorry for the network issues, and I think it got stopped. Yes. So as I was telling, that pregnancy time, it's meant to be happiness period for the mother and the father and the whole family. But because of this pandemic, it's not happening. So what we are seeing in day-to-day life, that even today I receive a call from a patient asking me whether I should continue with the pregnancy or not. So it's really scary. And this research proves that because of this lockdown, more women suffered from mental health issues, and especially the people who are in the age group of 30 to 44 years, and married women, and if they're working, cherry on icing. And this is the research done in recently, May 21st to August 17th, 2020. And they found that 1 in 3 pregnant women, after delivery, they are having a significant level of depression. And before COVID, it was around 15 to 20%. Now it has increased to 36% or maybe more now. Before pandemic, it was around 15% women, pregnant women and new mothers used to have that depression and anxiety around 29%. But after COVID, see the thing, it's almost like 40% increase, and 72% pregnant women and new mothers are anxious. So not only that, even the father. So, and when we say perinatal depression, perinatal means, the period during pregnancy and 1 year after delivery. And the depression which occurs during pregnancy is known as antenatal depression. The depression which occurs after delivery, after getting the baby, is the postnatal depression. And in between there lies another word known as baby blues. Baby blues is a term which is, describes
Dr. Payal?
Yes.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you share your PPT?
Hello. Yes.
Yes. Can you share your PPT?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
It has not been opened.
Oh, is
we
it?
have seen your many files, but you just open your presentation.
Oh, is it? Yeah, just a second. Let me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can send it to Dr. Habib maybe.
Can you see now?
Yeah, we have seen the screen, but it has not been open yet.
Oh, just a second.
Dr. Payal, could you hear me?
Yes.
Can you email me? Can you email me the PPT? Then we can just.
Just give me a second.
All right, no worry. It might be happen due to network.
Yes. I will share the screen, once again. I think I have been disabled from sharing the screen.
Maybe it's
Dr.
a
Payal,
technical
can you hear me?
problem.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. If you want to screen share, then just tell me.
Yes, I want to share the screen.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yes, I do.
She said yes.
Yes. Now you can try.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
It's working
it's
now.
fine now?
Yes,
it's okay.
yes.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, it's
It's okay.
okay. And it is visible. Thank you. You may
Yeah,
proceed.
thank you. Okay, so so when we talk about the perinatal depression of the new moms, even we can't neglect the father. And nowadays, most of the father, they also land up with postpartum depression, as many as 10 out of 100. And so why, what are the signs and symptoms of, this thing? The signs and symptoms will be like mother will be very worried, they will be tired, they will be unhappy, then they will be always irritated, they won't be able to take decision, they won't be able to take they won't be able to eat properly, sleep properly, and even after the delivery, after getting the baby, they won't be able to breastfeed their babies. Always there will be constant aches or pains or headache or cramps which won't be cured by any treatment. They have a very difficult in bonding with the newborn, and continuously they will be having that guilty feeling, and more severe is like they will have the suicidal tendency of and also harming themselves or the babies. And then what are the causes why we are seeing so many why there is an increase in this perinatal depression? First thing is it can be it is not affected by age, race, income, culture, or education of the mother. That we have to understand. And we also have to understand we should not blame or make the mother to be responsible of getting that perinatal depression. Perinatal depression does not have a single cause. And research suggests that perinatal depression is caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors like stress. And pandemic situation, we know how much stressful we are staying in a stressful situation. And because of this, uncertainty, like the mothers always will be thinking, if I get COVID, what will happen to my baby? That is the first thing. Second thing, how will I deliver? Because there are so many restrictions. They just can't go out, freely. Then they don't have any help. Because of sudden lockdown, mother-in-laws, they could not visit the, new moms. So mother, father, and the newborn, or when the mother is in pregnant, the husband will be somewhere else. So there is a huge level of stress, that unimaginable level of stress going around. Then if they have any issues, they own, there is a hindrance in, reaching the hospital. Then fathers are not allowed in the delivery room. Now restrictions of, people, visitors in that hospital. Then after coming back, they are not getting, help, what they are supposed to get, if the situation is not pandemic. So all these things lead to, stress, then depression, and slowly and gradually it affects the mother, the baby, and the whole family. So as we know that happiness of the mother is very important during pregnancy, but this if the mother's mental health is poor during pregnancy and after delivery, it has got a huge impact on the baby, mother, and family. If the mother is stressed out during pregnancy, it will lead to early labor or high BP in mothers. And after delivery, definitely they will have issues with breastfeeding, bonding, and taking care of the baby. So what we can do as a, this is a combination effect, effort of all the people. So when this, when we find that there is a signs and symptoms, we have to, teach each and everyone that when we, you find that, mother is not well, mother is not happy continuously for few weeks, take support, take medical help, and make sure that mother is happy during pregnancy by providing her with healthy food, making sure she is doing exercises, helping her with the with the daily chores of day-to-day activities. Then we also encourage the mother and the father, would-be mother and the father, to do pep talks, just like putting a hand on the tummy and talking to the baby. That creates a bonding. Then we also encourage the mother to write gratitude journal, why she is happy. Even the father and the mother both to write a gratitude journal in order to make themselves happier. Then we encourage the mother and father to do, singing, then dancing, or, any hobbies like, painting. And after delivery, immediately after delivery, put the baby skin to skin with the mother in order to release the oxytocin, so that mother's stress level comes down. And then talk to the baby, sing a song for the baby, do baby massage. And even we encourage the father to help the mother in changing the diaper, in taking care of the baby, like putting the baby to sleep, and then making the baby to burp. All those things, small things, makes a huge difference. And as a family, we have to remember that whenever we find any of the symptoms, we need to understand that depression is a medical condition and that needs help. We just can't say ignore by telling it is normal, or why it happens to you. We didn't have any sort of issues when we had kids, and no, you don't need any help. Whatever you are telling is, you are making it. So these are the things we have to avoid. And as a society, we need to help each other. We need to teach each other. We need to make sure that this is a serious issues. We have to help. And we have to remember that any parent may become depressed when having a new baby and starting a family. But we also have to remember that you and your family don't have to suffer silently. There is a help available. If you are feeling depressed, don't suffer alone. Please tell a loved one or call your doctor right away. And we have to understand that depression is not your fault. Treatment can help you to feel better. Untreated perinatal depression can cause problems for you and your baby. With this, I want to end my presentation by telling that there is only one happiness in this life: to love and be loved, by George Sand. And I'm very thankful. I'm really feeling delighted to be part of this conference. My sincere gratitude to Professor Rahman for conducting an amazing session, and all the participants and all the people who are behind this conference. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Payal. Your topic is really very interesting, and this period of COVID, the rate of anxiety and depression in the whole world, it's very common, and the situation of mental health is really in a question, and also the pregnancy is a very important part of a women and man, I mean, for a family perspective. So these issues are really interesting, and thank you a lot. And maybe we
Thank
will
you.
discuss later these things. And now the second presenter of today's session is Sumaya Akhtar. Um, she is a student of anthropology department of Kumilla University, and her topic is dimension of eating behavior during pregnancy. Uh, and Sumaya, are you here? Sumaya, Mr. Habib. Habib.
Professor Jaida, could you hear me?
Yes.
I think Sumaya Jaida is absent. You can go to the next presenter.
Okay. Then the next presenter is Ms. MD Rezaul Karim Jahangir. He is a lecturer of Department of Islamic Study, the People's University of Bangladesh, and he is going to discuss on good parenting as well as ethical parenting in the light of Islam. So Mr. Rezaul Karim, you are welcome, and you may start your discussion.
Madam Rezaul Karim Jahangir, currently he is staying in Delhi for his son's treatment, so it's not.
Right? Okay, he is also not here.
Right.
Then our next presenter is Mumtaz Begum. She's
Mumtaz Begum herself sick. She reported sick. Actually, she's not coming. So just directly go to Dr. Balachandra, right?
Okay, maybe the next one, next discussant is Dr. Balachandra. Maybe Dr. Balachandra. Yes, Balachandra, he is the assistant professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Bangalore, North University, and his topic is really very interesting, I think so. And the topic is digital libraries as a servers to technology save a generation. And you may start.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. Professor Habib sir, can you hear my voice properly? Can I start?
Yes, please you can.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. I'm very thankful, and that today's topic is digital library as savior to technology. Savvy generations. Digital library because of current pandemic situation and COVID-19, this is digital library and institution repositories are very helpful to access the information resources, knowledge resources for all over the world. And now I'm going to discuss this topic on Indian related, how its scenario is covered. Thus, introduction of major way of making knowledge freely for only the open access initiatives is very helpful for accessing knowledge. And the study and presentation of the aim to identify the situation of the institution repositories in India. What are the institution repositories there? How they are presenting? What kind of software they used? What kind of document they uploaded? And everything. And we are going to see that a little bit more than repositories can be subject wise also classified and institution wise also classified. We'll see that. First of all, we have to see that why institution repository. What is the institution repository? Institution repository, it is in digital in nature. It's everything is in digitally accessible, and it's a centralized collection of intellectual output, like a research output and an organization related work. Apart from that, research outputs, apart from that, we can create an administrative document related and teaching related material also. Apart from research output, we can create institution repository, administrative documents and teaching materials, whatever we are studying regularly basis or whatever we are giving resources to the students. Apart from that, institution repository may be a single organization, or based on a multi-organization basis. Like there is a lot of sub-institutions or the parallel institution or sister institutions. They can create group in all the institution repositories or research output in a one place. Or some organizations, they have there some policies like partially access, fully access. Partially access means they can limit the resources to the access, and fully access means they can access, like if the research scholars, they can access all the dissertations and thesis on the full. Then why institution repository is required means the institution repository, the benefit to the all the stakeholders of the organizations, like if is the creator or the author can also benefit from the institution repository, and the students who are utilizing, who are using, research scholars who are utilizing that resource, they also get the benefits. And apart from that, the institutions who are the sponsoring us to create an institution repository, they also get the benefit. That we'll see it. And finally, the one who are maintaining all the institution repository, that library and information center, they'll facilitate information to the users and the administrators who are utilizing. The benefit of the author, if author published a lot of papers in the different databases, it's very difficult him to identify all the databases in a one place. But if he's created his individual institution repository, he can keep it all the research outputs or all the intellectual outputs in a one place and organize in a single place. That's easy for identifying. And apart from that, when he's submitting all the institution related work or all the institution okay, if he's submitted all the research outputs or the intellectual outputs, and it's helpful him to increase the visibility. In one place, we can see all the author details, all his publications and his citations, everything. If he's put it in an open access in the institution repository, then it's inviting and increasing the citations like reference, citations, everything is automatically it increases. And apart from that, as a preserved and permanently access to the all. If it's stored in a one place, if it is like is stored in some web basis, then it's something happened and web is struck and he not able to access the. But at institution repository is locally stored in everything, then he can access anytime and access anywhere. That's possible in institution repository. These kind of benefits to the author. How it's helpful to the institutions. If it's open access, the increase the global visibility. If it is access all over the world, all other places, automatically the research outputs or intellectual outputs of the institution, the whole world or the globally, they can see it. What institutions, what kind of research is doing. That's visibility of the institutions. And apart from that, the institution can using the institution repository, advertise themselves that what kind of research they're doing and what kind of the teaching faculties or teaching materials they are uploading in the institution repositories. Apart from that, administration records. Apart from the academic, we can create institution repository on an administration record also. If the administration are there submitting their the organization details, everything like any notifications is there or any functions related, photos, images, videos, everything, all the formats they can submit to the institution repository anytime they can access that. It's a well preserved history for the institutions also. Apart from that, institution repository is work as a knowledge bank, knowledge hub to the institution. They can access all the subgroups institutions or the group of institution, multiple institutions. They can share their knowledge to the surrounded places also. That is a benefit for the institution. Then the users who are utilizing that resources, we can say beneficiaries. Beneficiaries also, they can browse, search a document and submit their document also. They can submit to the institution repository. It's a freely because of search, because of its open access. They can submit, search, access, retrieve the data from freely anywhere. In case of user can access full text, it's full. If it's only, we can see that some subscription is required for some websites. If the author itself is giving the green open access. Green open access means the user or author can submit their paper to the some reputed journals, and that database should be not for the free for the users, but he can self-initiative and he can submit their research papers, the one soft copy to the institution repository, only institution related work. Then the institution related users, research scholars they can access freely. And if they access some confidential data or confidential information is stored in the institution repository, the user want to see that, then he can raise the a request to the authors directly, or he can raise direct to the who are the admin of that management, who can admin of that institution repository. He can request that, and based on request, the author or the administrator can provide the full text of information sources to the users. Apart from that, gray literacy literature we called as a teaching materials and unpublished document, like some projects or some the dissertation work for the 4th or 5th semester students. They're not published to outside. It's for the institution related work. Then what they'll do, they'll keep it into the only institution repository. That kind of things also we can access in the institution repository. Teaching materials, regularly basis we need to provide the informations to the students to read more related books, read more related, the subject related, like that kind of soft copies, soft related materials, we can keep it into the institution repository. Then they can access anywhere all over world, or all over their places, the on campus or off campus, anywhere they can access. Users you can utilize anywhere. And more benefits, if you see institution repository, that research scholars, the showcase institution outputs. The institution repository helps to research scholars to showcase themselves, the institution it will shows, and increase the citations for authors. If you stored in open places or open access, then everyone can access and everyone can start citing that articles or the research output. And it's access 24/7, and if it's enabled in a web devices. And all the research work, all the outputs which is did by the authors or did by the institution, it's saved in one local places. That is help for the researchers. And apart from that, librarian can assume greater role for the reaching globally. Means we can access is American Library Association. They have their repositories. We sitting in India, we can access their repositories. We can see it, what kind of research going on there, what kind of outputs they are getting from that, what kind of findings they got there. Like the current situation, the COVID-19, the scientometric analysis, we found that the almost all research output, vaccine related research work, where it's going on, which country is doing too much. These kind of things we can easily identify when it's in a globally accessed institution repository. And apart from that, librarian can provide a new way of achieving and preserving value of work. His librarian, his role for the service, he has to provide the free informations to the users. This is the best way for the new way for achieving or providing the valuable information He's managing all the institution repository, and time saving. If it is an institution repository, we don't need to any internet access. It's the internet connections. He can access anytime. If it is internet or it's not available, then he can access intranet connections and he can access that. It's a time saving and cost effective, because if we want to buy some databases, it's very huge. If self-motivated author can submit their research papers to the institution repository, it's freely available. That's a very cost effective and help to identify trends. Trends means the new things is going on the institutions or country wise. We can identify here that what kind of trends going on, which subject, what kind of trends going on the research outputs. We can see using this institution repository, reduce the duplication work. If it's stored in an open places institution repository, then it's easy to identify which is duplicate, which is not duplicate. Within the institution, the outside the institution also we can identify it. Then this is the architecture of the institution repository. How it's work means the open source dynamics digital repository model, like a digital library model. Here we can see the submitter. Submitter, he can submit his research work or research papers or intellectual properties or intellectual outputs or any dissertation, thesis or anything, images, videos, whatever. He can store it in one place. He can put it. He can submit everything. After submission, we can see these are the files. Here the collection creator, he'll identify what kind of resources, what kind of metadata he's to create to search pattern. To somebody want to search something related to the information technology, what kind of keywords they'll use, he'll identify it and he'll create the metadata. In that file he'll create. If you took the example of mine, my title is digital libraries, survivors and technology and generations. If somebody want to search my paper, they'll search it library science paper or international journal or something related to our international conference related. Then we can create a metadata based on that keywords, and automatically the user will search that particular file. After creating this the metadata and files, he'll create an item. Item means it's a group of files. It's a group of files he'll create. In that group of file, he'll create a collection, like subject wise. If you took subject wise, the individual subject, there's a one collections. Individual subject, whatever subjects, he'll create individual collection for all the subjects. And the community means group of all the units, all the subjects. Like if you took masters, there's a lot of subjects. Bachelors, there's a lot of subject. Technology, there's a lot of subject. The community will help to the subject related one group. Then if the entire thing, the entire item collection and community on the web-based services, then user can easily access that entire thing. He can retrieve all the information from the website. He can retrieve and he can collect, he can download. If it's not possible, it's restricted, and he can send a mail to the author or send a mail to the administrator of the institution repository. Then he can request, I'm doing these studies and I want this article for my research purpose. Then author can give the full access to that particular user. Then how it's work, this the digital libraries, how it's work, or the institution repository, how we work. That's the architecture of that. Apart from that, more benefits, if you've seen, if we want to explain that, it's a effective marketing tool for the universities. If you standardizations or some ranking wise, if you want to see, then this kind of institution repository is very helpful. When it comes to the university ranking or international universities ranking or institution wise ranking, it's a very easy to identify which universities, how much they are doing the publications, how much they are doing the research, what kind of projects they're doing. Everything we can store in one place on the institution name. Then it's easy to marketing tool for the universities. It's increase the visibility and the prestigious. Automatically, if in universities or institutions, they created their own institution repository, automatically it's a visibility. Automatically it's increased the prestige of that university. They can say that how much research outputs we are doing. That kind of things we can do it on the institution repository. And greater interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research also it's helpful, and enhancing funding. If the research outputs is very good, automatically we'll get the funding for the next projects. Then globally, if globally communicating, then first is free access to scholarly. Anywhere, any places, anybody can access freely institution repository. It's freely available. So globally, anybody can access. And taxpayer, like who are not related to institutions or who are sitting in the outside the country, they can also identify the scientific research, which institutions, which organizations, or which countries is doing the scientific research. If you want interested that subject, anybody students want to access, they can access easily. Apart from the developing countries, we can see that which country is going on which research. It's easily identified. Increase the public knowledge. Automatically, if a free access institution repository, it's increase the public knowledge. And gain access to the wide varieties of material, anything, videos, audios, teaching materials, gray literature, research papers, research outputs, statistical data, and dissertation, thesis, everything we can create institution repository. It's a wide variety of material to access. Then IR can be used for scholarly communications. We can use scholarly communications, store and learning material for crosswork. Crosswork also we can create cross-subject crossworks and project-related crossworks, storing learning materials and managing collections of research document. All the documents, managing purpose also we can create institution repository, preserving digital material for the long term. If you create an institution repository, it's have its own server, you can store it and you can access anytime. And the knowledge management, there's a main concept is institution repositories knowledge management, storing entire knowledge into one places, and electronic publications. If some unpublished document, we can't able to store it in our system. If we want to store it into the public access, then the electronic publications like a free open access, it's very good. And a collaboration tool means inter-collaborations. If our university is created institution repository, then some other institutions want to create a same institution repository, we can collaborate with them and we can increase the both institution repositories in collecting in a one place. That is useful. Then the current study, the institution repositories in India, we identified as per the registry of open access repository, there is a 65 institution repositories. Currently, there is a registered open access institution repository. Globally, it's available. And apart from that, free open directory of open access repositories, we call that open DOAR. There is a 51 repositories in India. And as per India stands in second in Asia after Japan. There is Japan have 89 institution repositories as per ROAR information. And if it goes to the normal stands, and in India stands for the third place. Japan have 135 and Taiwan have 58 institution repository based on open DOAR, means open directory of open access repository. This is what sorry, this is what we can see. The institution repository, apart from the institution, apart from the language, apart from the subject, we can see this how many this is the global directory of open access repository. It's globally available. All this, the English is 96% the language used for the creating institution repository. There is a Hindi and Marathi, Gujarat, Arabic, Kannada. Kannada is local language for Karnataka. As we are staying in Bangalore, the same place, and Bengali, German. This is, all globally, these are the statistics. They created institution repository, and what kind of softwares they used for creating these all the softwares available freely. These are open source softwares. Maximum we will use institution repository software for DSpace. DSpace is a community, is a freely access, and every time they'll give the upgradations, new versions. There's a 56% the institution repositories used DSpace, and ePrint is a 33%, Drupal is 1%, Greenstone is 1%, and others are 9%. Because the DSpace is a very user-friendly software, and is a freely available, and it's a Linux-based OS is required for the installation, and the DSpace is supporting almost all the formats like video, audio, text, images, Excel, TXT format, or the if you want to upload images, if you want to upload only audio, it support almost all the formats. If you go to the subject-wise institution repository, we can see multidisciplinary, there is only 49 registered information repositories. Okay, then technology related, health, these all are available in the open access. Almost all are available in the open access. And science generally, and computer, biology, and ecology and environment, civil engineering, social science and general. There is only 3 repositories available in the globally. See, there is a this is showing that there is a lot of institutions. They are created only for the institution related, yes, but they are not providing the open access to the outside. That's, we can see it here. Only 3 they globally access, and management planning and language and literature. We can see there is only 1. This is the opposite of the open access institution repository. Education, there is a 1. We can see law and politics. There is only 1 institution repository for the globally access. Any country if created the globally access, then we can easily identify what laws in there, what law we are implementing, how much there is a difference. It's easy for the research scholars. It's very easy. Then this is the C, we can see it. The growth of the Director of Open Access Research. See, then when it started in 2004, the Indian Institute of Science, India, they started first institution repository in India. There's the 2005, there's increases. It's a globally. See, if you see the growth of this institution repository, the April, the current 2021, there's a currently 98 new institution repositories registered. These all are the number 2, 12, 13, 19. This is the total number. This is the total is increasing. Total number of institution repositories that created is increasing. This is the growth of the institution repositories. And my study is observed that there is we choose on 16 institution repository. In there is a 15 be opened during the cannot be opened during the studies. When we selected 16 institution repositories, and I try to open, there's a 15 institution repository web page is not opening. It's a globally access, still it's not opening. Some error. Maybe the internet connections are wrong. Maybe the IP is changed. Something happened that 15 is not opened. And Indian Institute of Science open access repository is first IR Indian started in 2004. And among there is a 16, there is a minus 15, 45. In 45 there is a 3 the exclusively on electronic thesis. They're only concentrating. They're not concentrating on the research papers or images, videos. They're only concentrating on the dissertation work, PhD thesis, like Vidyanidhi, ETD, ISC, Indian Institute of Science, and Mahatma Gandhi University thesis online. You can access all our world, all the thesis, all the university thesis. We can see it. It's a plagiarism. Nobody can copy and nobody can recreate the same dissertation in the other country, and they're not able to submit. For this purpose, they created only dissertations related institution repository. The large repository in India, Indian Academy of Science Publication of Prose, they uploaded 39,300 documents. It's available in the globally. It's a large repository in India. And apart from that, it is the smallest, which is very smallest institution repository, the WHO Indian Health Repository. They uploaded only 19 documents that's related to the health organization related. Then there is a 21 institution repository are multidisciplinary in nature. The multidisciplinary, all the subject you can see it. If you, I see that there is a 3 institution repository related to the only dissertation work. Here there is a 21 institution repository are multidisciplinary, all the subjects, and 18 repositories deal exclusively on the science and technologies. Then apart from that, 45, this 18, they have only related to science and technology subject, allied subjects. And IR contain documentary regarding library and information science. There is a 1 repository, library and information science. Globally, only 1. And yeah, each, and the literature related development studies also is a 1. Apart from that, I observed that 2 institution repository, namely Vidya Prasaraka Mandala and E-Jnanakosh, contain exclusive on the teaching material. It's related to their syllabus. And apart from that, there is a 11 institution repository. They are using ePrint. ePrint is a software. It's also freely available. They're using 11 institution repository. They are using ePrint. That Nitya software. Apart from that, among the 45 repositories, the 40 repositories are allowed staff only. They allowed to staff only to access the institution repository or submit to uploading the document. They'll give the permissions to the staff. And the other 4 repositories allowed author not accessed with institution to the submit document to the repositories. Then apart from that, among 45 institution repositories, 4 have not provided clear submission policies. Submission policy means license. If it's document to the free for the license, or it's a partially can access, this kind of policies, they're not clear on that for institution repository. Regarding accessing the document, all the repositories provided browsing, searching facilities to its user. Access and browse. And 5 institution repositories do not allow outsider. They see this is the opposite to the open access repositories. They're not allowing outside the institutions. Then 33 repositories are outside user can fully, partially they can access to the full text document or within the registration. Sorry, without registration. There is a as I said that I want to access some university repositories. At least I want to register. It's a freely registration. I want to send a mail. The administration has to take my mail. He can ask the detail of my what are the research, what are you doing, which university, and I need to upload that, and automatically he'll give the access to the entire institution repository. Then conclusion, I found that among 16 institution repository studies, 15 cannot be accessed and available or internet or a LAN connection. Maybe it's opposite for the open access. University features, it's in the list of IR, rarely though comparing to research institutions. There's a difference between research institutions and the university. We're not able to compare because research institutions, they are publishing very more compared to the universities. Institution repository on law and politics or humanities subject are very rare to find all the 60 repository. The only 18 institution repository that place among 122 repository globally ranking. That is they have the rank that Webometric, they'll do the ranking on the institution repository. In that, only 18 Indian institution repository got the place. And the developing of institution repository in India is a fast, and many institutions are taking up the initiative to set up. Because of what happened in regulation of University Grant Commission 2005, they told to submit all the research work, research documents, or the dissertations to mandatory to hand over to the government UGC recognized institutions, because that time it's increasing automatically. It's increasing the institution repositories, electronic thesis repositories. It's very easy to make. And the purpose, if you see the current stages of the institution repository is very increasing, then library can hope now to serve their clients in a more better fashions, because the earlier it's in a 4-wall in the library. Now it's a globally accessed institution repository available for everywhere in a free. It's also freely, and it's time consuming, and it's a very cost effective. That's reason the librarian can provide more access to the all over the world, all over the globally, and it's helpful for the others who are doing the research. They can easily identify which research is going on. That it's helpful for the research scholars. And I thank you. If any questions, otherwise I am very grateful, really thankful to the Professor Habib sir is providing me the opportunity to present my research work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Balachandra. It's really interesting topic. Thank and you. Also a up-to-date topic you choose. Yes. For your discussion, and which really important and played a vital role in this COVID situation when we are locked down and we need the documents and the books or other things. And if the digital library really works and the institutional repository are really work well, it really helpful for the era of the knowledge management. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
If any, I don't know if anyone have any question to Balachandra. No. Habib, are you here? Are you hearing us? Okay.
Yes, madam.
Habib, if anyone have any question to Balachandra, they may discuss now, or they may discuss later.
Wonderfully presented.
Yes,
it really nice presentation.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And I really thanks to Habib sir, and because of a last moment I submitted paper and there's a lot of things, and Habib sir has helped me a lot. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You are welcome. And maybe we.
Madam,
yes.
Paper, MD Mansoor Ali, but after Mansoor Ali, Khaza Emmanuel Abdul, I just found him. He's logging in and off, most probably network problem. Still he's here. Internet disturbs a lot in that way. And participant Muhammad Saidur Rahman from Brahmanbaria, there is already power drop. So he initially was there, but he dropped. He cannot join Safari. Actually, understand him. So you can.
The list is okay. Then Mr. Mansoor Ali, you are requesting to present your paper.
Hello, thank you, Professor Jaida.
Yes.
At first, I want to give a lots of thanks to the organizer of this 4th International Conference, Professor Habibur Rahman. And I want to offer him a grateful thanks. The session chair, Dr. Tulsi Kumar Das, co-chair, Dr. Jaida Sharmin, discussant Muhammad Samiul Islam, and also the presenters. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Muhammad Mansoor Ali, lecturer, Department of Sociology and Social Work, the People's University of Bangladesh. My presentation topic is the causes and consequences of dropout of the university graduate students in Bangladesh who study in Dhaka city. The content is the title of the research, introduction, statement of the problem, justification of the problem, objectives of the research, literature review, hypothesis, methodology, recommendation, and the reference. Introduction. This is a long topic. In these steps, I want to say dropout not only the problem of a single student. I want to say in these steps, sometimes the educational institution and the teachers think that dropout is only the problem of a students only for him or her. But I want to say it is not only the problems of him or her. It is also the big problems the educational institution who maintain the result or maintaining the educational system nationally as a single of educational institution and only the system of a country. And I also want to say that it's also ruining not only the dream of his students who dropped, it also ruined the dream of his father, or mother, parents, the society, and the dream of him or her locality. Step 3, the statement of the problem. Every developing country and underdeveloped country try to fulfill the SDG. One of the most important goals of SDG is fulfill the literacy rate. Bangladesh government also tried hard to fulfill the literacy rate, but the current situation of the dropout, without stopping the dropout, the governments of any developing or underdeveloped or developed country cannot reach this goal. The current situation of this drop-out rate of Bangladesh is dropout rate male student is 36.1%, 0.1%. Dropout rate of female students is 40.19%. Justification of the problem. The most important things I try to justify of the problem is why a student dropping out, what stage is it failing, what is the drop rate, what steps can be the take to prevent fails, what do we do after the fails. I think the answer of this question will help us to take the appropriate steps preventing to dropout. Objectives of the research. There are two objectives. One is general objectives and other is specific objectives. General objective is to know the causes and consequences of dropout students in university, and specific objective is to know the internal and external influences of the students in dropout, to find out if there are any similarities and dissimilarities between the different causes and different courses and semesters, to know what stage the students are dropping more, to learn the steps of currently in place to prevent fails, get feedback what steps can be taken to prevent falls, to formulate an effective recommendation for prevention in the course. Literature review. This is a big chapter. I summarize this. I just want to say that in this stage, I tried hard to identify read between the line of this dropout. Hypothesis. The hypothesis of my research is to relation between the relation between dropout students and educational relations of dropout students and educational facilities. The independent variable is educational institution facilities, and dependent variable is dropout students. Definition of the term. Actually, I use different kinds of dropout, the dropout, university dropout, and university dropout. It may the others. Methodology. Actually, I follow from my research, the mixed method research will be used for this research. Design survey data collection method to be used for this research. Unit of the analysis. The unit of the analysis will be the dropout students of university and the teachers of different departments. Area of the study is Dhaka city. The population of this my research is the dropping out students, honors and masters of public and private universities and teachers of different departments. Sampling, actually I use multi-stage random sampling for my research. Instrument of data collection, I use a questionnaire, and there will be there I said two kinds of question. One is open-ended and another is closed-ended. I follow the method of my research is interview method. Ethical issues of data collection from field. I want to skip this. It's a natural simple stage. Stage of 9.12. Data processing and analyzing. After collecting my data, I editing coding and data editing and coding data to be done from my research. Then data use the computer using MS. I use the SPSS software for processing my data. Presentation of findings. Actually, I collect my data. I get different kinds of information from the dropping out students and the related department, related teacher of their department. The student feedback on the type of the dropout is the semester dropout for admission on the subject of choice, dropout by accelerated, year dropouts, which may be a CGPA less than 2.25, changing the university dropout. Stage 9.13.1, student feedback on the causes of the dropout is actually I got there are different lots of causes of dropping out. I want to say the major causes of them is 5. One is admission to another institution, family causes financial insecurity, personal reasons for admission to the subject of choice, academic reasons, the lack of proper knowledge about the semester method, political reasons to about the political harassment. The next stage is student opinion on what universities, teachers, and students should do to prevent of dropout. In these steps, I got lots of information on them. Some information I want to share with you. At first, for reducing or stopping the dropping out, the students and teachers share their knowledge with me that cancel the second chance of admission, enhancing academic opportunities, promoting market-oriented, not career-oriented education, conduct awareness seminars on dropout, arrange scholarship, to conduct a survey to review the condition to the students, concentration on lessons through quality teaching, maintaining a corporate attitude, make students aware the negative effects of dropout, increase the informal communication, provide proper knowledge about semester method, build yourself up on any subject, be satisfied with your position, concentrate on putting the knowledge you have learned into practice. Immediately after admission, he continued his studies considering his university as the place of trust. Recommendation I would like to recommend it for the stopping of dropout is academic facilities increasing, market-oriented, not career-oriented education should be expanded, taking steps to reduce session culture, provide separate time to weak students and track action. You need to focus on the lessons through quality teaching. The second admission will have to be cancelled to keep the education sector free from the political influence, arranging scholarship for the poor student to be satisfied with the what is received and to study with attention. Admission test should be free from the fight, and admission test should be taken through standard question. Teaching should be done through experienced teacher. Adequate books should be collected to educational institution. Teacher eliminate communication between students. Students need to be made aware of dropout. This is reference. And the last sentence I want to say in my research, without stopping or reducing the dropping out, we cannot make a well-educated nation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all. Professor Jaida, could you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Mansoor Ali, thank you very much. We know that the dropout of the students in different stages of our country is really a very big problem and big issues. And you choose to work on the dropping out of the students of the university level student and in the Dhaka city. It's really a good work. And also I want to add something with it, that this COVID situation, it's really create a problem for the students in the higher studies level. They, because you know the institutions are shut down, closed, almost all the universities are closed nowadays, and most of the students are really in a problem to survive in the cities, especially in Dhaka. So I think your research really fit with this COVID situation, and you may add these things in your paper, maybe add a new dimension of this COVID period. It is my suggestion to you. Thank you very much. And
thank you, madam. Actually, I have not finished still my research. It's
yes.
continue. After few days, I will finish my research.
Okay.
Thank you for your good suggestion.
Okay, thanks. So Habib, are you hearing me?
Thank you. Yeah, madam. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, we are close to the end of the session so far.
Okay. Yes.
I should convey my thanks and gratitude to you and other speaker. But before that, I would request you, madam. There is Kalpana Deshpande. She is a research scholar. Kalpana?
Okay.
Can you hear us, Kalpana Deshpande? Are you here?
Yes, I can, sir.
Yes.
All right. So should I request you to make some points or any comments for the speakers? Wonderfully, they were presenting their papers. Actually, today we are under disaster, under disaster, right? Here is electricity cut, power cut. Actually, we were running through this around Dhaka city, not only Dhaka, other parts of Bangladesh. There is a big problem here.
Okay.
So can you make some comment?
But I appreciate the efforts you are taking. It is really, and in between I was not getting the connection, sir. I appreciate your promptness with which you immediately gave me the link and I got connected.
Delayed response creates more problem actually, but it's really tough to respond soon. And before coming to chair, should I ask someone to make few comments? Farjana Akhtar, Maiju is here. Maiju, can you hear? And
yes, sir, please. I have a question. Maybe it's not a question. It's kind of query to Mansur sir's presentation. Mansur sir presented about dropout subject. I have a question that early 2000, the rate of dropout, and the after 2010 or 2020, I mean 2019, the dropout rate. Is that same, or does the dropout rate decrease by 2010 or after 2010? Because I wanted to say this, that as a Bangladeshi, as a nation, we're practicing our freedom. It's around 50 years maybe, and we were never together like what we are now. Early 1970 or anytime sooner. So my question was that the dropout ratio is all about the education length, I guess, because the more we get richer as a community, the more we will learn about us, and I think the education range would be more expanded by that time, isn't it?
Thanks. Thank you for nice comment, Naim. Ishtiaq Naim for wonderful comments. As I could understand, Mansur Ali is actually continuing his study. He will definitely add some points that Professor Jayada Sharmin madam added, and you also make comments, Deshpande comments, but I'm seeing here Professor Ali Waqas from Shah Jalal University of Science and Technology. Professor Waqas, can you hear me?
Thank you, Jeb. I'm today I already disrupted absence of electricity. It's a great problem.
I understand, yeah.
Today's session chair, Professor Jayada Sharmin madam. Maybe today's discussion issues is depression, counseling, and stress recovery mechanism. This is the theme of today's session. It's a wonderful session, but I'm totally unable to attain. Frequently absence of electricity. But it's a great issue. The only person without stress is a dead person. So stress is our daily life, stress is our workplace life, stress is our social life. It's a common phenomenon in our daily issues, because in absence of inner peace, welcome always stress. So stress, maybe our life partner, maybe our issues. So we will try to recover, we will try to manage stress. What is the big thing? What is a big issue? How will manage our stress? Because stress always affects our brain, affects our sleep pattern, digestive issues, heart disease, lot of causes behind the stress. So it's a big thing. Today's session, I already mentioned that depression counseling is an important phenomenon for today's life. So how we'll manage? These are the 3 issues I think may be important for management of stress. Change your thinking. It's the best issues. Think positive. Then change your lifestyle. How you manage your lifestyle, dieting pattern, exercise pattern, daily working pattern. Then change your behavior. This is another issues for managing the stress, because we are always live with stress. We are always live with frustration. Frustration is our daily life. Stress is our daily life. But try to manage stress. Try to minimize the stress. But without stress, I manage a dead person. So stress is always our life issues, life partner. But try to manage. Then how will manage stress? How will manage? These are the several issues. These are the several pictures or variables to manage the stress. Then improving, get moving. Movement is important for management of stress. Social connectivity, social networking, social communication. Try to free from stress, from inner peace. Absence of inner peace creates stress. So try to manage stress from. Try to move. Movement is important. Then connect to others. Mr. Jia, it's a great initiative, not only for Bangladesh, all over the country, all over the globe. We are facing COVID, but now we are connect each other. A connection, it's a big pillar. It's a big issues or big factors, free from stress. So I think it's the important issue. Then learn how to exercise, how to relax. Relaxation is an important phenomenon, it's an important factor from stress. Then laugh. Laugh is another issue. Try to always laugh. Try to always think positive. Try to always think, say no. No is important thing. Everything is not possible for me. So always try to say no. Be thankful, be grateful. These are the another factors and another issues for stress. I think this is the wonderful session presided by Jaida Sharmin Shatim. She is my madam. Mr. Jia, social worker, he always try to manage various types of occasion programs, talks on the basis of community issues. It's all, everything, every issues. I think it's a mega antibiotic or mega remedy free from stress. It's a matter of counseling. It's a matter of free from frustration. So thank you, Mr. Jia, for choosing these types of theme. Thank you, madam. But I'm very much sorry because of electricity crisis. So thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Waqas. Nice addition with this. I could say Vladimiro from Argentina. Vladimiro, can you hear me, my friend?
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Yeah, how are you? Actually, I forgot. Vladimiro, I forgot what is morning, what is evening, and even non-afternoon, right? I just forgot everything. And I hope I can share a story before coming to our honorable discussant, Samuel. Professor Samuel is here?
Yes, he is, I think.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, well, welcome back again. I'm just taking opportunity to speak a few words. Just a storytelling like that Professor Ali Waqas added, that depression, that I think in my personal life, that if you stop comparing yourself with anybody or anything in the world, you will be the happiest man in the world. I think that I do believe personally, because always unhappiness arises in life when you start comparing that this is good, this is bad. this is early, this is too early, this is too late, this is late. Actually, depression, happiness, reverse. In Japan, I was just delivering a keynote on poverty the time in 2016, so or 17. And in the panel, they asked me, and that was house full of audience, and all were held from Social Service Department of Japan government and a professor from different universities, development activists. In a session, they raised a question, what is happiness? That was a really tricky question, and I was happy in that panel session. Ruth Stark, the then IFSW president, was there, and she referred me, Habib, you can take the lead as a young leader of social work. What is happiness? What do you think really about happiness? And my response was that happiness lies on the satisfaction with what or whom that you have, that you can be happy. If in terms of religion, if you are Muslim, you should have faith on Islamic thoughts. If you are Christian, you should have faith on that. If you are other religion, you should have faith on that. So, and actually this is my individual opinion, it might be, but I think that Professor Ali Waqqas said, this is truly happening everywhere. Depression comes when we have poor partnership, we have poor sharing. That's why my thought is that always I just learn from this Emirates Airline. I'm very grateful to Emirates Airline, where I was working before 2010. They taught us in all the training, national and international, that sharing is caring. That is the best option. When you are depressed, you know, sometimes I do some counseling with my foreign friends. Few days back, I shouldn't mention the name, one of my Japanese Korean friend, she was just writing. She was muted and absent for a few days from my connection. So I was just knocking and knocking in messaging, through Messenger, and he was replying, I'm depressed, man. And he was in acute depression. He was just writing in that way, he's dying. And he was writing that I have no worth. I don't find any worth of my life. So I'm depressed now. And I could understand. And I was writing a mail and communicating him, phoning him that you should come back, man. You are very, very powerful initiator and motivator of the society. So nothing happens. Due to COVID, when he lost his connection, that I could understand, when he was disconnected due to this COVID from the surrounding, from the colleagues, from the friends, from the clients, he thought life is worthless because we are social beings. We love to be connected each other every day. And my madness, actually, you might say, identify my attraction to work, the kind of madness. During this COVID, you know, I declared till 6th April, you know, my total helping hand collapsed. My 2 new colleagues helping me a lot, but 2 students, they're actually supporting me. But I never become demoralized. I always, based on the true word that Professor Ali Waqqas said, that is be positive. So I have firm faith on my confidence that I'm confident enough. And I do believe if the whole world think or start thinking me negative, 99%, who cares? Because I have faith on me. I'm very confident that if I have confidence enough, the whole world might be dark, but I might be white still that time. So actually that is the thinking during this time. So we just planned this depression recovery as a social worker. This is our chapter. And I'm really personally very happy to have that wonderful presentation from Dr. Balachandra, Payal, and other speaker, Mr. Mansoor Ali. So before coming to Madam, actually this is turn of Professor Samuel. I was just giving proxy, right? Samuel was out of screen. So this is your turn, sir. You can take times, and by 9:30 we'll finish. So after that, we will come back to our honorable professor, honorable session chair, Professor Dr. Jayada Sharmin. Please proceed.
Thank you, Professor Rahman. And first of all, honorable chair of this technical session, Professor Dr. Jayada Sharmin. Head, Department of Political Studies, Shahjalal University of Science and Technology, Sylhet, Bangladesh. I was blessed to get her as my direct teacher during my student life. After ended of my student life, I privileged to work for many research work and projects and got opportunity to publish some research papers with her as co-author in the reported journals from home and abroad. I'm also delighted to share that I feel honored to attend in this technical session as discussion with my respected teacher. Respected co-chair, moderator, and dear distinguished paper presenters and participants from home and abroad, I would like to congratulate and express my special thanks to you all for sharing your work. It is very much interesting to me that the theme of this session is depression, counseling, and stress recovery mechanism. It is definitely an important issue in each and every human life. That's why I learned so many things from your wonderful presentation, particularly prenatal depression beyond baby blues, presented by Dr. Payal. Dr. Balachandra presented his works entitled Digital Libraries as Saviors to Technology-Savvy Generation. Unfortunately, rest of the presenters, I couldn't able to join presentation during the presentation due to load shedding. And I'm sorry for that. And so far I know, Dr. Payal focuses few things. More women suffered by mental issues during lockdown period. And she said women had to face stress in the pregnancy period while husband is not stayed with wife. She's also said we need to help each other as well as teach each other. Later on, Mr. Balachandra, he also presented his paper, especially information and resources, and that is actually digital transformation of the library. And he also presented some benefits like benefits of authors, institution, users, setting up an institutional repository. However, I'm very much glad to the presenters to enlighten myself from their sharing their research findings. And I strongly believe that it is an excellent platform to share findings of research works and views of the researcher. The outcome of this conference may facilitate to policymakers of the country to review public policies on the basis of community needs. Again, I'm grateful to organizer, Mr. Habibur Rahman and his team to organize wonderful conference during global pandemic. It is not easy task during this pandemic, but it is reality. Mr. Habib made it possible by his strong wishes, leadership, and relentless efforts. Thanks to him once again. Thank you once again for your patience hearing. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Habib, if anyone have any question, they may ask now.
We found Deshpande raise her hand. So Deshpande, Balachandra, do you like to raise any comments or anything, any feeling sharing for?
I'm very thankful, sir, first of all, because it's as sir told previously, there's a current pandemic situation. The organizing this, the huge event, the international conference is very critical and very, we have to concentrate all the everything and very thankful first of all that. And again, I want to say that the madam and everyone, they share the knowledge. The current situation is like the stress is also the same thing that we are also facing here because of the pandemic. Our students also facing the same problem because of exams hours and everything. They're not getting the proper classes because they're still not addicted on the online classes. They're getting a lot of stress. How do we have to write the exams and everything? Then this situation is as sir told that this international conference is the helpful for the others. They can make it that they can utilize this the findings and the implementations is very helpful for them, that how they conducted and what kind of the handled and the current situations and everything, and the digital libraries and stress related everything. And I thank you, sir.
All right, Deshpande, thanks a lot. We are close to the end. Dr. Payal Biswas, happy to see you here actually. It's very tough to see in person, but we hope to see next year in person. You definitely come to Bangladesh to visit. And Vladimiro, you also will come to Bangladesh, right? Vladimiro?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, Vladimiro loves to speak Spanish. So that's why English is a problem sometimes. He wrote sometime in Spanish, English. We are very close to end. Professor Ali Waqqas, many thanks. Balachandra, Payal Biswas, Deshpande, Pinjan, Honorable discussant, Muhammad Samiul Islam, Professor Samuel. Is there anyone loves to speak? One or two? We have still 10 minutes. So, Mr. Jackson is here.
Yes, I just want to, my sincere gratitude for, for conducting this wonderful session. Thank you so much. In spite of load sharing and this thing, and I just want to share one thing. My grandparents are from Bangladesh.
Great, very good.
From my mother's side, it's from Borishal, and my father's side, it's from Faridpur, and my in-law side is from Dhaka.
Okay, so you are, I mean, the half Bangladeshi, we may say.
Definitely. When we, speak, they always say that, we are Bangal.
Yes, I understand.
So, yes. So that's how Bangladesh is very close to my heart. And this is the second time, I'm thankful enough to the Almighty for participating in the conference conducted by Bangladesh. I would love to come. I would love to, do work with you all and the amazing work you all are doing in Bangladesh. I think we all can work together for making a better place to live.
Very good. So, Madam, we are close to the end. Just let me share one thing. This is our initiative. Can you see this? This is a newsletter. This is a newsletter, over the COVID pandemic. Actually, our topic today, depression.
Mr. Habib, you deserve a big clap.
Yes.
You did a good job.
Thank you. I definitely request you to send me some write-up. That is a newsletter named Community Talks. I'm just sharing you about my passion for the community. I started this organization, Sohail Bhai, when I taught my students the subject course, community organization and community development. Then I thought I'm just teaching students within the classroom, but I should go out of this classroom without engaging community participation. How can I teach them properly? They will be frustrated. They will be the part of a frustrated nation. So we should engage them within the community. When they be engaged with the community people, they can really understand and realize the real situation and scenario happening in the community. Then I thought how I can, when I refer my students to some development organizations, I need to make a connection. So being a teacher of a private university, it was really, sometime I faced some hurdles that it's really very tough to send my students in different organizations. I thought I should make something. I should make a platform. So I registered that with my colleagues and some volunteers and friends. CSWPD, name is Community Social Work Practice and Development Foundation, which is really unique foundation in Bangladesh, so right? I could guess till now. And after that, I thought during this COVID, I should keep some voices for the people. When I will not be in the world, afterworld, I will be in afterworld. People can see my voices, watch my voices. Actually, I thought that thing. It might be happen that time, right? Then I just opened a YouTube channel. Actually, I am very raw in IT that Dr. Balachandra declared and sharing. I thought I'm a zero in IT, but I have some helping hands. Even I cannot operate Facebook nicely. They help me to do that. So I'm grateful to them. I open that Community Talks YouTube. And after that, I have a group that is Community Talks BD. I have a Facebook group, Community Social Work Practice, Community Social Work Network BD. And this is the final policy outcome. I thought it should be an archive for the community people. That is Community Talks newsletter. Subtitle is, this is a community leaders platform. I have already had that e-version. I will send you all together, right, as per my commitment. And as we declare, this newsletter will be published thrice in a year, definitely based on the issue. I will try to communicate you all. You will send me just freestyle perceptional write-up on any issue. When we will declare, we'll print it just to keep people connected, just to go through a sharing and caring process of knowledge. Actually, that is how I am practicing, because I don't understand even sometimes what I'm doing. And during this pandemic, last story before coming to the chair, 30 seconds. Day before study, when I went back home, closely 11 p.m., I just back home. And there was a watermelon. I just bought a big size watermelon, 8 or 9 kg watermelon, and I just drop it on our, dining table. And after getting fresh, when I come back dining room, I was telling my better half, my lovely wife, that please cut the conference. I forgot the name of watermelon, right? That was amazing, really. And she was astonished and stared at me what I was telling. And she was surprised. Am I really mad, or am I okay? So it might be the symbol of a little bit dedication. I love to be connected. Actually, that is my passion. I love to be connected. And I think if you can be connected, depression automatically goes away. That might be the way, right? So I'm very sorry. I'm just inviting, before handing over the closing to the Honorable Chair. Tomorrow morning we have a third plenary session in the morning, just at 9 a.m. And 5 speakers are here. Professor Mark from Northwestern University, Chicago. Professor Masanobu Wasi, International Nippon University from Japan. Mr. Munir Hussain, currently he is doing PhD in Alabama University. Dr. Chandra Upadhyaya from Nepal. Dr. Hassan Reza Jami from Indiana University, USA. So definitely you will join us just sharp 9 a.m. in the morning. And Dr. Roma from Delhi, she will preside the session. And accordingly, at 11 to 1 p.m., there will be 2 parallel sessions. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., there will be 2 parallel sessions. 5:30 to 7, special invitation, that is a session. 3 speakers will join to discuss on autism, right? 1 from USA, 1 from Hong Kong, 1 from India. So definitely we'll enjoy the session. And 1 from UK tomorrow, just at 5:30 to 7:30. And the last session will be chaired on the next day. In the morning, 5 speakers from USA, they will join and they will discuss on counseling, especially on 4th day, 9 a.m. in the morning. So definitely we'll be there, hopefully, just to get how to do counseling and therapy. So that's all from my side. Have a safe stay. I will An organizer will send you the certificate very soon, hopefully with the newsletter. Madam, this is your turn. I'm sorry to take more time, right?
No, it's okay, Habib. Thank you very much. It's really a great opportunity for us to attend this international conference. In this, really, the time is not so good for us. The pandemic is spread out in our country as well in the whole world. End of the session, I would like to thank all the participants and my dear discussant, my student and colleague Samiul and others, the Kalpana Deshpande, Vladimir, who are listening the session from different part of the world. And it's a time that we need to commit ourselves that we will be connected in every way. We try to connect each other, and we try to work together. And I would like to say, be safe, and we may pray together that the pandemic may be over soon. And I would like to thank you again. So goodbye and good night for today. Have a nice time and be safe and be happy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you. Thank you. And just informal, already closes off, session is off. We have sent you email in every session, top of the session list, speakers list, there is Zoom link. So when you are in online, just click on this timely, you can join easily. So please, you all are invited. And on 6th of April, just sharp 8 p.m. Bangladesh time, there will be definitely a grand celebration, closing celebration. And I'm wondering the number of participants on that day. So COVID is not a matter. This is an issue. This is kind of crisis we have to win together, right? Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.